What's good, defenders? You know what time it is. Monday, July 3rd. Obviously, one day before the 4th of July and one day before 80,000 people descend upon the Rose Bowl. That took me quite a while, Philly. I apologize. 80,000 people in Pasadena, California for the match, the rivalry. Some like to call it El Tráfico. I like Clásico Angelino. I also like this man. I don't know if you're looking at it here. He's on my left. That is one Christian Philly Philemon.
I get it. You're tongue-tied. You're excited. We're on the eve of a glorious game, the 20th match in all competitions between Carson and LAFC in front of a crowd of potentially 80,000 people, a game in which you can watch for free on MLS Season Pass. This is exciting stuff, man. It's also a game that we prepared for many months ago. But thanks to Mother Nature, she shifted her weather pattern in a really disgusting way in February. And as a result of that, Rose Bowl got washed out. This time, it's not going to get washed out. And the powers that be so intelligently picked one of the most easygoing days of the summer, July 4th.
Yeah, and if I looked at the weather correctly for tomorrow, it's going to be a warm one, folks. The 4th of July, 80,000 people, a fan fest that's open to members of both supporting teams. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to go over real well.
There's just, hey, Roberto Carlos is going to be there. Andrea Barzagli. There's all kinds of cool luminaries that are going to be in attendance. I can't imagine who else is going to be at that match. And we know that many of you, the millions
and millions,
will also be there amongst the, I would imagine, at least 40,000 LAFC supporters that'll be there. Look, Philly, you mentioned Mother Nature shifting her priorities. I have to be honest, LAFC is coming into this one. Yes, obviously out Aaron Long on international duty as the U.S. men's national team makes their way through the Gold Cup. But I don't think we could have it set up much better for us going the other way with Chicharito, Martin Caceres, Eric Zavaleta, Memo Rodriguez, Jalen Neal, and I mean, I guess kind of Sega Koulibaly, all not being in attendance, all missing the match for Carson. I don't know how much better of a situation we want to be put in.
Well, we could have been in a slightly better situation if Cheeky Palacios hadn't lost his head in the 8th minute of the game against Dallas, because he's going to be out too due to yellow card suspension. But with the names you just read off that list, one would think we would have the upper hand. But as we witnessed in Frisco, Texas, doesn't matter how depleted your team is, doesn't matter if your leading scorer is playing on his national team, it's anybody's ball game. And unfortunately, LAFC have just not been good in the last couple of weeks. Losers of 7 out of their last 10 in all competitions. Whereas the Carson Galaxy folks, as bad as they've been this season, they've at least gone 0-1-4 over their last 5 games. They haven't won any. They lost 1, but they managed to tie 4 games. So one would argue that they're on a slightly better run of form.
Listen, 1st to 5, and you want to be touting your 4-game unbeaten streak heading into the Rose Bowl, it's 4 ties. Get out of here. That being said, let's not forget, through 19 matches, this is the same club that has 16 points, tied for 2nd worst in the entire league. They are 9 points back of a playoff spot. 18 goals scored in the entire league, 31 given up for the 2nd worst goal differential in the league, minus 13. But you know what you can do, Philly, with all your stats and all, not your, but the Royal, your stats and numbers and predictions and everything else, you can throw them out the window, because what we know is that when our crest takes the pitch, when our club takes the pitch, when the supporters of the black and gold, the chorus of the faithful, are there in the Rose Bowl, you can throw out the records. It doesn't matter what they've done this season, what we've done this season. It is the best rivalry, not just in Major League Soccer, but I'll say this, it's the best sporting rivalry in California, and it's one of the best sporting rivalries in the United States.
It's a very bold statement considering the heated rivalry between the Giants and the Dodgers. It's a very bold statement when you have other teams that hate each other, like the Packers and the Bears, or the Canadiens and the Brewers. But I will agree with you that it is certainly one of the best rivalries in North America, without a doubt. And as far as derbies are concerned, even taking world football into account, what's fun about this rivalry is that compared to most other rivalries, take the Milan Derby, the Manchester Derby, whatever derby you want, those are typically low-scoring games. These games, between the two teams, they nearly average about 5 goals apiece. So that makes it more of an exciting derby than a 0-0 or a 1-1 intense affair. A lot of people come into these games expecting a lot of goals, and historically, they've gotten a lot of goals between these two teams.
Yeah, look, it's always fun, right? This is not a match that's going to end 1-0. I'll go ahead and go out on my limb right now and say 1-0 is not going to do it. I do want to mention one thing, and this is actually courtesy of Galaxy Public Relations, Galaxy PR. They said, and I quote, "With 80,000 plus guests expected to attend, it is imperative that you arrive no later than 4:30 p.m. or risk missing the start of the match." Philly, go back into your book of stats there. What is the actual start time of the match?
7:30.
That's 3 hours. 3 hours, they are saying, to get there early so that you don't miss the start of the match. This isn't LAX airport. No. This is the Rose Bowl, folks. You got to get there 3 hours early. And it says, and I quote, "Expect severe traffic delays and sold out parking after 5:30. So listen, Black and Gold faithful, get up there, get in early. Parking lot opens at 1:30.
Yep.
1:30. This is going to be the biggest, or I guess most attended match, obviously, that LAFC has ever played in. This is going to break the record. You mentioned it already. Set earlier this year, FC Charlotte against the Galaxy in their maiden voyage, or at last year, excuse me.
Last year.
Last year, FC Charlotte in their maiden voyage against the Galaxy. This is going to be the new record breaker for at least until Messi starts playing at sold-out stadiums all around Major League Soccer. So get there early, guys. 1:30 is when parking lots open up, and I'm just going to say it. That's when you should be there. Got to get there early.
Yeah, and we know Los Angelinos are notorious for not getting to places on time. This time, if you've got a ticket, get there early. Like Scarf said, you've been warned, not just by us, but by Galaxy PR, LAFC PR. Get there early. Parking, just to reiterate, opens at 1:30. FanFest begins at 2:30, and the gates to get into the Rose Bowl open at 5:30. So there's your timeline, 7:30 kickoff. It's going to be a good time. Scarf, we know that anytime these two teams get head-to-head with each other, things happen. Historically, the Galaxy have the better record, having won 8 times. LAFC starting to catch up with 6 wins, and there's 5 draws between the two. Now, the last time these two teams played, we could say it didn't count. Others will argue that it did count because it was still the match. It was a U.S. Open Cup game, May 23rd, which honestly started this lousy losing 7 out of 10 games since that game. But that was a game in which the Galaxy did beat us 2-0 against our teenagers, if you will. A game in which Ricky Pooch had an impact, a game also afterwards in which Giorgio Chiellini called him a clown. But lately, LAFC has been the better of the two sides. The last 3 regular season games were won by us. April 16, 2023, we won 3-2. October 20th, 2022, playoffs, we won 3-2. July 8th, 2022, we won 3-2. So over the course of the Major League Soccer, we have been a little better in closing that gap between us and Carson.
Yeah, I think I know what Philly's score prediction might be after hearing all those things. We'll see. But the thing that Philly knows that I don't know is who our players to watch are, because I had to send him everything for the slides. Philly, why don't we get into it? Let's get into our players to watch. Let's talk about who we think is going to make the most impact, or in my case, just who I want to watch in the match. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and take the Philly route here and take the low-hanging fruit when it comes to LAFC. If you don't mind, I'm going to say that Denny Bwanga is going to be back. I cannot wait at the end of a match to be able to say Cowabunga once again, because Denny Bwanga is going to go off. I'm predicting there's like a Super Saiyan Denny Bwanga that we are going to see with the anime convention in town at the Los Angeles Convention Center. Lots of Dragon Ball Z cosplay and everything else. Denny Bwanga is going to do his level best to go Super Saiyan on everybody at the Rose Bowl. I can't wait. And why is it always the annoying? I feel like that was kind of a Gilbert Gottfried. Why is it always the annoying guys for the Galaxy? It's the guys like Ethan Zubak and the guys like Preston Judd, my player to watch. It's look, we know it's Zlatan. We know it's Carlos Vela. But then there's all those annoying guys that tend to be a thorn in our side. I'm looking at you, Raheem Edwards. There's several other guys that we've played
Perry
in the past.
Kitchen.
Yeah, there you go. The Perry Kitchens of the world. I think the annoying guy this match is going to be Preston Judd, because you know what? I'll say this about Preston Judd, who has 3 goals in his last couple of matches. He knows his role, and he shuts his mouth. He gets right to the front of the net. He tries to score. I'm going to say this about Preston Judd. He is a pretty decent true number 9 for the Galaxy in that he knows his role. Get to the front of the net, score goals, put shots on. And I think that's going to be really important for them to do. And we know Preston Judd, he does not care. I almost said something completely different. He does not care when it comes to playing LAFC. He's ready to go. But we have Denny Bwanga, and they don't. Philly, I'm very interested to see who your players to watch are.
I like it. For a change, we don't have similar picks. As far as my players to watch are the following. For the Galaxy, it would be one Douglas Costa, one of the worst designated players ever signed to Major League Soccer. Why am I choosing him, you ask? Well, because as of late, the guy's been pretty good. 4 assists in his last 4 MLS matches. And while over the course of his entire career in MLS, he's been an absolute POS, he's certainly getting better. Look, this is a guy who had won plenty of silverware over with Shakhtar Donetsk. He played at Bayern Munich. The guy's played at Juventus. And during his stint at Bayern Munich, he was managed by Pep Guardiola. And Pep once labeled him as one of the best midfielders in the world. The problem with this guy, though, his mentality and his consistency are just not there. You obviously know the guy's talented. He's quick. He's creative. He can pass the ball efficiently when he wants to. And that's the thing, when he wants to. And lately, the guy's wanted to. He's contributed to the Galaxy's recent run of form. He's the guy to watch as far as I'm concerned. He ain't as good as he once was, but all they need him is to be as good once as he ever was. And as far as LAFC is concerned, the reason why I chose Carlos Vela, not because it is low-hanging fruit, but because he scored 12 goals against the Galaxy in the 13 matches that he's played in all competitions. The guy can score. In fact, the last time these two teams competed against each other, a game in which he played, he scored multiple times. Carlos Vela does rise for the occasion, and he always rises against his arch rival. He's never gotten a chance to really go out there and play against his countrymen, and that of Chicharito, but he knows what this game means. He knows how important it is to the 32-52 and to the millions of all of us, and of course to Major League Soccer. So he's going to show up. A goal or an assist is something that's going to come by way of El Rey.
I loved LAFC's tweet earlier today, 12 and counting, showcasing all 12 of El Rey's goals against Carson. And I think you're absolutely right, Philly. It's going to be 12 and counting. I think they're going to make it at least 13, if not 14, for one Carlos Vela. Let's go. I like hearing that. All right, keys to the match. Something that I was absolutely harping on at the end of our last match against Dallas. We need players to get forward. Not 1v1 runs by a Mati Bogusz or maybe somebody coming down the side. It's not going to be Cheeky Palacios this time, so it'll be interesting to see what we do on the side there. But we need multiple players to get forward, get in the box, and be progressive with your passes. Why is it that Giorgio Chiellini is our best progressive passer right now? The ball's over the top into the box. We've seen it time and time again from Giorgio. And I'll say this after the 65th minute from Carlos Vela. We need to see those from multiple different players. Okay. Maybe not these line splitting passes, but at least feeding the next man while he's going forward. We are not passing the ball forward nearly enough, and we're playing out of the back a little bit too much, and we're playing backwards a little bit too much. And there's actually one player in particular I'm looking at. This might be a surprise to some of you out there because I don't know how much run he's going to get, but Eric Duenas needs to try to get that ball moving forward a little bit more than he has been over the last couple of matches. I love every single thing about this kid, and I think Eric Duenas is going to be an absolute stud in Major League Soccer and beyond for quite a while. But we have to get him and the rest of the midfield moving this ball forward. The second thing we need to do is close down space. Philly, that last goal scored by Junkwa, of all people. Sam Junkwa, was because we didn't close down space. We allowed him to take the ball from the right side of the box to his left, have all the space that he needed, and put the ball into the back of the net. We need to close down space. And I'm looking at you, Ricky Pooch. If we can't close down space on Ricky Pooch and Gaston Brugman, we are in a little bit of trouble. So get forward when we have the ball, close down space when we are defending, and we should be good to go. Philly, your keys to the match.
I'm certainly looking forward to Ricky Pooch's first bit of contact with Giorgio Chiellini. That's for sure. As far as my keys to the game are concerned, look, we got to convert on our opportunities. We've lost a couple of games in which we absolutely should have won. I'm looking more recently at the Dallas game, a match in which we had 15 shots with 20% of them on target. To go back to Atlanta United, we had 18 shots with so many of them on target. Look, the team is creating their opportunities. So we know that the talent is there. The connections are there. Just the direction is not. We are lacking in our inability to finish in the final third, and that's what's costing us these games. The opportunities are getting built. We are just not converting on them. If we could convert, and I'm not even talking a lot, 25% of the time, geez, like on 4 shots on target, score 1 goal, I think we're in a pretty good scenario. We need to score goals. And in a match of this magnitude in front of a record-breaking crowd, the stars are going to show up tonight. So I'm pretty confident in the fact that we are going to convert our opportunities. And that being the case, also maintain composure. Look, some of these guys that are going to be on the pitch, they've played in some of the fiercest environments all over the world, but not as of late. In Major League Soccer, this is going to be the biggest game that anybody has ever seen. Just so happens that the Galaxy was part of the last biggest game against Charlotte, but it's been a while since Carlos Vela has played in front of 80,000. It's been a while since Ricky Pooch has seen 80,000. It's been a long time since Giorgio Chiellini has seen 80,000. And none of us have seen 80,000 in Major League Soccer thus far. Maintain that composure. Do not let the Galaxy get the better of you. Do not let them get under their skin. And don't pull any cheeky Palacios crap yellow cards early on in the game.
Yeah, Philly, I couldn't agree more. It's the composure that tends to leave us at times. I always do worry. I don't even know, Philly. We haven't seen the injury report yet about Jesus Murillo. He's one
lower extremity still.
Yeah, he's one that tends to get a little hot-headed. This is why we need everybody to find your inner Giorgio, folks. Find your inner Giorgio when you're out there on the pitch. Be clinical, be surgical, but be that Zen Italian that Giorgio is for the match. We need that from Giorgio. We need that from everybody in this match. All right, score prediction, Philly. You said the last 3 times we won, I believe it was 3-2. You've said a lot of 3-2. So clearly, I'm going to go with the score of 3-1. That's right. I don't think we're going to give up 2. But I think we are damn well going to score 3 goals in this match. I cannot wait to see LAFC back a little bit rested. Obviously, Carlos Vela only coming in the 65th minute. Giorgio Chiellini and Timothy Tillman coming off after the 45th minute in Dallas. Plenty of other players hopefully getting back fully healthy. Kellen Acosta, I'm looking at you. Our front line ready to go with Mahala and Carlos Vela and obviously Denny Bouanga. Mati Bogusz looked absolutely fantastic against FC Dallas. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm even sensing we might even get a contribution from someone like a Nate Ordaz, who has been playing incredible for us. The kids have looked all right. Carlos Vela was back to being vintage Carlos Vela in the limited minutes that he had. Giorgio is going to be Giorgio. But more importantly, I think we are defensively sound. I'm still very worried about what we are going to do about Cheeky Palacios not being there. I'm sensing we may see a little bit more Julian Gaines in this match, which could be quite interesting. Cheeky Palacios is the position where we are least deep at on the entire club. And so with Sergi Palencia likely out due to injury, I think we're going to see a little bit more of a player like Julian Gaines. Please do not put Ilie Sanchez back there at center back again. Thank you very much. I say 3-1. Philly, what say you?
I like your score prediction. I like your score prediction an awful lot. But I got to be honest with you. I'm quite nervous going into this game. It's a big one, and we haven't been great as of late. The beautiful thing is you and I do have the amount of goals that are going to be scored in common. When these two teams meet, they average about 4.67 goals per game. I am going to have that prediction at them scoring around that mark, but I honestly think we're going to walk out with a draw. I do not like saying this. I rarely, if ever, over the course of this past season, ever said that I think we're going to walk out of games either as a loser or as a draw. I think both teams are really going to step it up, and this is going to be a classic. And I honestly think that Don Garber really wants this result to hold because a 2-2 scoring line, both LA teams being happy, it would be a good thing to please the soccer Don himself. What the Galaxy have going for them right now is the fact that their supporters are back in their place. Had this game gone on in February, it would have been a predominantly black and gold crowd. I'm still venturing to guess it might slightly be, but not like it would have been in February because they were obviously protesting and boycotting Chris Klein. Now that he's out, they're going to come through, and I do think that their supporters are going to give the team that we despise a little bit of oomph, and I do think it's going to end in a 2-2 draw, much to stay along the lines of this of what the Galaxy have been doing these past couple of games. Look, they blew the game against Sporting Kansas City. They couldn't score against a bad Colorado team. They blew it against. They obviously lost against Real Salt Lake, but they did manage to tie a really good St. Louis team. I'm not saying that this team is turning things around, but I'm just really nervous about this game. We're not losing it. I'm confident in that. I just don't know if we're winning, and fingers crossed your score line is the correct one.
Boo.
Yeah, I'm booing myself. I don't,
all right.
I'm just
as long as you're also booing yourself, Philly, it's going to be a long day tomorrow. You and I will be in the press box, which will be kind of neat. I'm not going to lie. 80,000 people. But being at the home of the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, and being able to be in the press box where so many iconic things have happened at the Rose Bowl, it's going to be really exciting. I think it's one of the pinch me moments that you and I get to live every now and then because we started this wonderful podcast, 263 episodes after tomorrow's recording. We should probably talk about when we're going to record that episode tomorrow. But that being the case, I'm really excited for it. I'm excited to see what this atmosphere is like. Obviously, Rose Bowl, home to Carson for the first bunch of seasons that they were in Major League Soccer. But it was a place where if you ask a lot of Carson fans, they were very happy to leave and have their own soccer-specific stadium, even though it is 13 miles outside of Los Angeles. So a lot of them are kind of ruining getting back into the Rose Bowl, having to deal with parking, deal with the food situation, deal with everything else that is going to be out there. I just want to remind everybody as you listen to One More Sleep and you get yourself all amped and excited and just ready to roll, we all want to go home after the Rose Bowl. 80,000 people are going to be making their way down like 3 streets in Pasadena, trying to get out of that godforsaken landscape that is the Rose Bowl parking situation. But more importantly, we don't want to have to go to the hospital. We don't want to have to go to a sheriff's station to come bail you out. We don't want to have to go pick you up on the side of the road after a brawl or a fight or something. We know these things happen after every single match, but this is going to be on a scale the likes of which, I'll be very honest, LAFC supporters have never dealt with before. In our 6 years, we haven't played in front of 80,000 people one time. Neither has the Galaxy because nobody's played in front of 80,000 people. But we got to keep our heads on straight, everybody. We got to be safe. We have to be smart. And we have to remember that in order for us to all celebrate the win over San Jose on July 8th, we got to be there. We got to be healthy. We got to be good to go. So please be smart, be smart, be smart.
I agree. I couldn't have said it any better myself. It's not worth it. Doesn't matter what that person says. Doesn't matter what that person does. None of this is worth it. I mean, if you looked at highlights of the game between Mexico and Qatar, I think somebody got stabbed during the game. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want to see anybody get hurt tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be a joy, a celebratory game. We're setting a record. All eyes on Major League Soccer. I'm hoping we're all on our best behaviors. Obviously, it's going to be hard to account for everybody, but do your best. You represent LAFC. You represent the black and gold. The last thing we want to have happen is for like videos of people fighting and doing stupid crap go viral, because that just paints a bad light on our city, on this rivalry, and on Major League Soccer in general. Yes, I know, world football, it happens everywhere. I get it. But we're not Argentina. This isn't Boca River. We'd love to get it to that point, but there's no reason anybody should get hurt. So be careful, get there early, have your wits about you, and enjoy tomorrow's game, because we are all going to be a part of history, whether we are there physically to watch it or watching it on Apple TV. Tomorrow is going to be a very historical game for Major League Soccer. So let's let the world know that this is the best rivalry in North America. Let's let everybody know that Los Angeles is black and gold, and let's let the rest of the world know that Major League Soccer is a force to be reckoned with.
Channel your inner that guy, Giorgio Chiellini, right there on my wall. Channel Giorgio, or maybe the Giorgio down here that you can't see because my name is covering it up. I got two Giorgios. That's what we need to do. Channel your inner Giorgios. All right, Philly, we'll have to chat as we finish this about what we're going to do tomorrow, but a very exciting day. And we have a cool guitar riff, right?
Yeah, and it's coming on right about